What's up, everybody? This is Robert, and this is That Infernal Noise. I guess this is my reintroduction first episode, even though it's technically the fourth. I enjoy talking about mental health. I enjoy talking about trying to better myself and trying to better everybody around me as well. Whether or not they want me to remains to be seen. I am not entirely certain that it's always welcome with everybody. With anybody for that matter. But still, I persevere. Um, I consider myself to be a fairly good person. I'm not going to say that everything I've done in the course of my life has been right, but I do try. I try to be a good person. I try to be a good friend, be a good husband, be a good father, uh, brother, whatever, etc. I miss the mark sometimes. I know I do. Just like everybody does. Everybody has their challenges, their tribulations. They carry their own cross, whatever adage you want to use. That infernal noise is the voices in the back of my head. I don't mean I hear voices or whatever. I mean, in the aspect that it's that nagging in the back of my mind that is always telling me you're not good enough. Why aren't you good enough? Etc., etc., etc. I don't have time to get into all of it because that would be a day long conversation, to say the least. I'm wildly insecure, and I know that that would probably surprise some people just because I try to exude confidence and like I know what I'm doing whenever in actuality I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm trying to do the best I can, but that doesn't always work. As a matter of fact, it hardly ever works, if I'm being completely honest. Karmatically, I feel like I've built up enough equity to where I can comfortably say that I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be treated accordingly, regardless of what other people may think. I've tried my best, especially in the past decade, to truly better myself. And this isn't a brag session or anything like that, but I've quit drinking in that time. I've quit smoking in that time. I've learned how to be monogamous uh, against my natural instincts, and my natural inclination would be to bed as many women in as short amount of time as possible. Uh, I've had that conversation with my wife multiple times, actually. Overall, I don't get the itch anymore, as it were. Not literally an itch. It's not a venereal disease, but, well, that's another fucking story. Anyway, I've tried to consistently better myself over the span of however long. I've always tried to do that. I would like to think because I don't like being stagnant. I don't like conformity. I don't like anything that would lend itself to maintaining or just staying the same. I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to surround myself with better people. I've cut so much dead weight out of my life. It's not even funny. There's so many people that I've had to reevaluate my relationships with on a constant basis. People that I thought were family, people that I thought I would spend the rest of my life with romantically, people that I considered aunts and uncles to my children. That part kind of bothers me because my kids did grow up with some of these people and they are no longer in their lives. But this quarantine has done a very eye opening thing to me. I don't exactly know how to put it, which is surprising. Yes, I know, because I know how to articulate everything somehow. I've had a lot of time to do self reflection, to try to better myself mentally, to understand myself better, to understand my partner better, to understand my kids better, my friends, all across the board. I've really taken this as an opportunity to get to know myself again. And I realized I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I am. I thought I was a husband, dedicated to my family, all of that. And I'm not saying I'm not, but I don't feel complete, to put it bluntly. I do not feel complete. There's things that happen. I'm aware. I know how this goes. Shit happens in a cycle, especially for me, around me, whatever. Overall, I consider myself a very patient person. I've dealt with a lot of people doing a lot of things in my life that I haven't exactly liked. And I'm the asshole that tends to voice his opinion, whether it's warranted, wanted, or anything. I've pissed everybody that I know off at some point because I open my mouth whenever it's not wanted or needed or heated for that matter. And I realized in all this time that I've catered to everybody else my entire life. I've tried to make sure that everybody else was okay. Everybody else was having a good time. Everybody else vented whenever they needed somebody to vent to. That, hell, monetarily in some cases. I've always tried to take care of everybody. And in the meantime, I don't take care of myself. I like to think I do because I like to better myself and I like to learn and I like to more deeply understand everything that I'm involved in. Whether it be something as simple as podcasting, whether it be something as complex as understanding how my or anybody else's mind works. I do have a passion for that. I enjoy breaking down people's psyche, not because I like analyzing people and using them as test subjects or whatever, but I like further understanding what makes us all tick. I do believe I miss my calling in that. I've felt like I needed to make a change for a while. And recently things have come up to make me realize that I need to put the focus back on myself. Not to be selfish, not to shun anybody or push anybody away or anything like that, but because I've become completely dependent on the life that I have as opposed to being dependent on myself and what I can do and what I'm capable of. I rely, as much as I take care of everybody else, I rely on them to take care of me as well. And then I hold them to my unreasonable expectations for taking care of me because I base it on what I do or what I perceive that I do for everybody else. And all I'm doing is setting them and myself up for failure and disappointment. I've had a habit of doing that in the course of my life. And it's not to put anybody on blast or throw anybody under the bus, whatever you want to say. That's not how it is. Again, I just speak my mind and it typically comes out in asshole format to where everybody thinks whatever. And that leads me to another point. I've realized in this alone time, in this isolation time, that my views, my opinions, my thoughts in everything are not important to anyone but me. I know that's kind of a nihilistic, emo way to look at it, but that's just what I believe at this point in my life. I've noticed that whenever somebody else needs an ear to bend, I'm there. 100% all the time? No, not at all. Because there's just sometimes that my emotional bandwidth is full and I can't deal with it. And certain people understand that. Certain people get that I need time to recharge myself and that I also have things going on that I'm trying to process and deal with and whatnot. Because every day is a struggle. If you have any kind of mental insecurities or OCD or anything you haven't dealt with, every day is a struggle. And every day you're looking for an excuse to give up, basically. What sets people apart is how you deal with it. How I deal with it is I turn it inwardly. I try to understand what created the negative thing to pop into my head, and I try to steer away from it. Not in the aspect of ignoring it, but in the aspect to change that behavior so that doesn't repeat again. I'm in a constant quest for self betterment. Is that easy? Absolutely not. Is it even attainable? I don't fucking know. I don't have the answers. I just know what works for me. And what works for me is trying to change my behaviors, my actions, to change the result in my brain. So I don't have to be beat down by the negative thoughts every single day. If I'm being honest, they never go away. Ever. Every insecurity I've had since I was a child has been there and will continue to be there every day for the rest of my life. Maybe I'm trying to be blissfully ignorant, and I try to ignore them sometimes. I don't think I do, but I mean, I'm not so convinced that I know what I'm doing. I think that everybody should strive to be better. I think everybody should want to get better. Like, truly want to get better, not say the words, oh, I want to get better. Oh, I want to lose weight. I want to have a better home. But whatever, material or immaterial, everybody should want to strive to be better. But striving and wanting to be better are different than actually doing something to be better. Too many times in my life I've seen not just other people, but myself do it as well, where I say I want whatever, and then I do absolutely nothing to do it. I make excuses for why I don't do it. Like starting the podcast back up. Oh, well, I'm busy with work. Oh, well, the kids need me this day. We got this thing to do on the weekend. Oh, I need time to relax and recharge and everything else under the sun. Same with working out. Same with eating healthy. Oh, well, I've had a bad day. I want garbage, so I feel better. And it does make you feel better to a certain extent. It makes you feel better in the aspect that it's comfort food, but long term, the effects are negative. Now I eat like garbage and I wake up with a headache the next morning. Now, if I don't drink enough water, I wake up dehydrated and feeling sluggish in the morning. Now, if I don't work out, I feel like I haven't accomplished anything for the day. I constantly push. I try to constantly push. And I've watched a lot of people in my life say that they want to better their lives or something about their lives, and then proceed to complain that nothing's changing whenever they're doing nothing to change it. And I'm aware I myself have been guilty of it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm not going to lie to anybody else. I'm guilty of it too. I know. But I'm cognizant of it. I know where my shortcomings are, especially now, because of all the time to myself, because of having the ability to just self-reflect in any moment, trying to learn from any moment to better understand me. I've changed myself for other people my entire life too, under the guise of, oh, I'm doing it to better myself, but in actuality, the majority of my quote-unquote betterment has been to appease somebody else. In previous relationships, I would tone down the person that I was because I get really excited about what people would call dumb shit. The happiest I get is whenever a new Dragon Ball Z movie comes out, a new Star Wars movie comes out, some dope wrestling angle, or this crazy thing happened in the new Batman, or they're running a new multiverse in Marvel, or whatever. I get excited. I get really, really excited. I turn into that kid again whenever I see certain things. I've been made fun of for it. Do I hold it against everybody? Not really. I'm not going to say that it doesn't hurt my feelings occasionally. But for the most part, I don't really give a shit. Like, okay, you want to be miserable, that's cool, but I enjoy what I enjoy. I'm not critical of a lot anymore, especially whenever it comes to stuff like that. Just because it makes me feel good, it makes me feel happy, it takes my mind off of things for a little bit. And that's what I've always used entertainment for. Same with music. Don't get me started on music. If I get obsessed with music, I find out everything about the band or the artist or the singer or whoever, and I can tell you where they grew up, what nationality they are, their background, whatever. And I've been made fun of for that too, but I don't regret it. I tried to change it for a long time. I tried to tone it down for a long time, but I don't anymore. I might not talk about it with certain people, but whenever I get excited, and I'm not holding it back anymore. I just say what I think. Again, whether anybody wants to hear it or not, that remains to be seen, but I enjoy saying it. In changing for everybody, I've realized I started to resent a lot of people because of it. Some because I was changing to be with romantically. Some because I was changing so I could be cool or fit in or whatever. Some I was changing just to make them feel better, to make them happy. And not that I'm not happy with myself and the person that I am, because I do think I'm a better person than I was once upon a time. I mean, shit, once upon a time I was downright repugnant. I used people, I manipulated people, cheated on pretty much every girlfriend or significant other I ever had. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't fun, because it was. It was the adrenaline rush that I got addicted to with all that. But in all of that, I knew that I wasn't right. I had no misconceptions about what I was doing was right or wrong. I would try to justify it whenever I got caught or got into arguments about it or whatever. Absolutely. It was CYA mode. I have to cover my own ass so I can continue whatever behavior I want to continue because I was selfish and I was self-centered and I only cared about what I wanted. I didn't care about the other people's wants and needs. And I look back and I see a litany of failed relationships because of that. I don't regret it because I try not to have regrets in my life. But I often find myself wondering what people's true opinion is of me because of that. Now, nobody I've ever been with has been a saint by any stretch of the imagination. I like them fucked up, always have, always will. If they're not damaged, I didn't want them. Still don't. Is that the healthiest? Probably not. But we all have a type. And I was always the fixer-upper. Women have this nasty habit of wanting to get with somebody that they can fix, they can change. Oh, I did that, so they can be proud of it or whatever. I do the same thing. Any of my friends will tell you I'm more like a chick than most of the chicks we know whenever it comes to that. I like thinking I can fix people. I like thinking I can help people. When in actuality, I don't know how many people I've actually helped. It's disheartening sometimes, especially whenever you see advice go unheeded and you put down ultimatums and you do all the things you shouldn't do, not because you want to control, but because you want the person to get better and you've gotten to your wit's end trying to figure out what you can do to help that person. And all that's left is the threat. If you don't fix it, I'm not going to be here. Too many times I've given that ultimatum and nothing changed. Everything stayed the same or got worse. And it hurts. It really, really hurts whenever you feel like you give so much to so many and the same's not returned in kind. It's not that I want everything to be about me. It's not that I want everybody's time and attention or anything like that. It's really not. But I would be lying if I said I didn't want to feel important too. and feel like somebody's taking care of me for once. But then the more I think about it, I realize I don't even take care of myself, so why the fuck would anybody else? That's definitely not healthy. I've had to question reality more than I would like in the past year, but a lot more so recently. Trying to figure out what's real, who said what was genuine, all of that shit. Because I just don't know. I would like to think I do. I would like to think that everything that I've seen, all the good in people, wasn't just what they wanted me to see. It was actually them. It was actually what they really felt. You know, I've had too many people in my life only be able to open up emotionally whenever they were drunk or high or whatever, in some form inebriated. And I don't like that. I've never liked that, actually. Because as anybody will tell you, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Things affect me, and it's blatantly obvious that whatever it is affects me, positive or negative. If it's positive, you'll never see me happier. If it's negative, it's not good. But I tend to voice my opinions immediately. Well, okay, maybe not immediately, but I process them and then I voice them. I think I've finally just gotten to the point where I just want to be happy. I don't give a shit about trying to keep face or trying to look good in any given situation. You know, whenever most people tell stories about how somebody did them wrong, it's always what the other person did. If you've ever heard me tell a story, I talk about how much I fucked up off top. Because I know I've been no saint in any situation. I've been fucked up. Karmatically, I've probably deserved a lot more than I got. Maybe. But I don't think that changes the type of person that I am. The caring, loving friend who will give you the shirt off his back, whether or not he's got another one. And even though he's wildly insecure about taking the shirt off, that's another story. I feel like I deserve to be happy at this point. And I know that's, you're not supposed to say that, or you're never supposed to feel like you deserve or entitled to anything or whatever. But after the life that I've had, the shit that I've had to deal with, same as a lot of people I know, I think it's about time we gotta fucking win. And stopped worrying about what everybody else thinks. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. This ain't a pissing contest anymore. We're not teenagers. I'm 36 years old, and I still find myself falling into old habits with some of my older friends where we tend to regress to how old we once were or how old we were whenever we met. And that is 100% not healthy because we were self-destructive assholes back then. And I found myself getting jealous of certain things with my older friends. And it's not that I'm jealous or I want what they have. That's what I'm supposed to do because that's what we did whenever we were kids. The logical adult side of me, whenever I'm removed from the situation looking at it, I'm completely happy for everything that anybody accomplishes. If they're happy, they've worked hard, they deserve it. You will never see me more happy than that. Because I love it whenever people succeed. I absolutely love it. I love it whenever people grow and mature and turn into their full potential. Because I enjoy that part of myself as well. I guess the overall idea behind all this is we all need to take steps in our lives, in our daily lives, not weekly, not monthly, but daily, to put forth some sort of effort to things that make us happy. In my situation, wrestling makes me happy. Anime makes me happy. Sci-fi Stuff like that makes me happy. I enjoy watching those things. It puts a smile on my face. Comedy, I mean, duh. It makes me happy. It makes me laugh. That's why I've always loved it. Laughing is my favorite thing, as I've said in other podcasts. But too often we get stuck inside our own heads and think we're progressing whenever in actuality we're sitting stagnant, if not regressing. And in doing so, we end up pushing away the people that we care about the most. Now, sometimes we do that as a defense mechanism because something in the back of our head's going off, so we push people away subconsciously, and it turns out to be for the best. I know I've seen that in my life. Sometimes we push people away, and it's the people that care about us the most, selflessly, unconditionally. Those people are few and far between. And I've seen a lot of relationships go tits up because one person or the other didn't communicate correctly, wasn't honest, not necessarily lying, but not telling the whole truth. I myself have been in those relationships, and it's not fun, especially whenever you have to question the other person's intentions for the entirety of a relationship because something comes out later. Yeah, okay, I'm speaking from personal experience. Yeah, I'm in a weird headspace right now. No, I'm not discussing what the situation is. Is it that serious? Probably not. Am I blowing it out of proportion? Maybe, but I do need to talk about it. Maybe somebody else will get something out of what I'm saying. I hope somebody gets something out of what I'm saying. It's taken me a long time to be able to communicate and articulate my feelings without it just being anger. I was an angry kid. I was an even angrier teenager full of piss and vinegar, and I would tell anybody to fuck off at the drop of a hat. Couldn't fight for shit, but, it is what it is. I had a bigger mouth. Let's just put it that way. Jimmy and Gabriel both saved my ass in those situations at times. I'm looking forward to getting better. I'm looking forward to watching everybody else get better. Even if it's from afar, or has to be from afar, or whatever the situation is. This quarantine's also gave me the clarity to understand that if things change, if people come and go from my life, it's okay. It's not bad. What's bad is holding yourself back from saying and expressing what you think to those people. Because personally, I feel like that creates a false relationship. Because it creates an image in your head of the person that's not necessarily true. It's shades of truth, but it's not completely true because something's being withheld somewhere on some side. And I'm not just talking about relationships, I'm talking about friendships too. I've pissed almost all of my friends off in the past year. I think it's a year. I don't know. This quarantine's got my timeline all fucked up. But I have said things, not that I didn't mean, and I'm not going to say, oh, I was pissed off, so whatever. I'm not doing that. I said it. Some things are misconstrued. Some things are misunderstood. Just because intent's not necessarily known behind them, because I don't know how to fully express myself in those moments. But I've come to realize that I'd much rather do that than hold on to it and let it fester and turn into something that it's not. And then I explode over something that is completely nonsensical and has no rhyme or reason to anything. I've done it more than once. I've seen me do it. I prefer not to do that anymore. So my advice for anybody that may be listening is just be honest. Be honest with everybody around you. You don't have to be cruel. You don't have to hurt people's feelings. You don't have to do any of that. Just be honest. And as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, you'll feel better about it. And you also need to be able to take that criticism. I had a hard time for a very long time dealing with people criticizing me. Some of it was valid, some of it was people simply wanting to get under my skin. And they would use insecurities and things of that nature against me. That's not the same thing. That's emotional abuse, is what it boils down to. And I've myself have been guilty of it, admittedly. I know it's an old saying, but honesty is the best policy. Full disclosure. I tell niche things that I shouldn't tell her because I know it's going to create, or I know it has the potential to create insecurities. But I'm honest about it. I'm honest in the aspect that I say what I'm thinking, and I'm honest in the aspect that I tell her, look, it doesn't mean whatever your brain's going to turn it into. It means this, whatever the situation may be. And I think communication is a very, very big deal, and it's very overlooked in this day and age. We don't clarify anymore. We just say whatever and leave it open to interpretation instead of having a dialogue, a true dialogue, and a true conversation to understand the intonation that the person was going for. What the real meaning is. Is this something that they're saying out of anger, out of spite, out of whatever? Or is this how they really feel? And if it is out of anger and spite, let's figure out what the real root of the problem is. The other person has to be willing to figure out what that problem is and not just like, oh, okay, I'm broken, fuck it, because that solves literally nothing. I used to accept the fact that I was broken, and I still am, and I know that, but I'm working to get better, and I think we all should work to get better. And with that being said, if you like this, if you want to give feedback, if you want to have a dialogue, if you want to talk, it's what I'm here for. It's what I like doing. I might not respond immediately because I might be overwhelmed in that particular moment, but I will respond eventually. Sorry, Rico. Unless I forget, and then you have to hit me up again because I forgot to respond. Again, sorry, Rico. So you can follow me, That Infernal NPC, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm going to try to be more active on all of them. You can find this podcast as well as Chronicles of a Peculiar Mom and To Raise a Child on all of the podcast platforms. You can like us, leave a review, rate, subscribe, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel the need, whatever you feel compelled to do. And in closing, I just want to say we all need to be nicer to each other. And these times, really fucking dark times, it puts everybody in a dark headspace, and it creates mistrust and uncertainty. And whenever uncertainty happens, everybody has their guard up. I know I do, but we need to be better to each other. But most importantly, we need to be better to ourselves.